So if you don't know, I'm in a reading slump. Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I've been struggling with a reading slump for about a month now. It's been honestly like on and off for about 3 or 4 months now, but the past month has been killer. Last week, for me, the videos are kind of coming out a little bit weirdly. I tried a method where I went to Goodreads and I let it recommend me a book based off a book I'd liked previously, and I tried that new book to see if it would help get me out of my slump. It did not work, mostly because I didn't like the new book that I read, and I found really no connection between the two of them, to be completely honest. This week, what I'm gonna try to do is read 50 pages a day and see if that helps get me out of my slump. Now, the goal is to read 50 pages a day, but I know that some days are a little bit harder for me than other days to read, so I'm gonna be a little bit forgiving if I read like 70 pages one day and 30 pages the next day. Really, the goal is to read every single day though, even if it's just one page. But my end goal for the week is to have 50 pages for every single day, which is 350 pages. So I picked up Song of Blood and Stone by Elle Penelope. This is the first book I've read by her. The other cover of this series is way better, and honestly, if I love this book enough, I'm gonna buy the paperback. I actually picked this book up already. I am 25 pages in. I just wanted to make sure before I started this video that this was actually something I was going to want to be reading. And I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying my reading of it. Have I read 25 pages and then stopped for 3 hours to play on my Switch? Yes. But that doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying it, and I feel like doing 50 pages a day isn't that much to ask for myself. What I'm doing to make sure that I can accomplish this daily goal. First, I tabbed out how much I need to read every single day. Having that visual marker for myself is really helpful and really helps me stay on track. I'm aiming for this little tab, the first one today. It's Sunday. I haven't said that. Another thing that can be really helpful to make sure that you're reading is make sure you take your book with you. There's always 5-minute sections throughout the day where you could have been reading. I get an hour for my lunch every single day, and I usually eat my lunch in about 20 minutes, and then I sit on my phone for a while. I used to be really good about bringing books with me, but recently I have just been exhausted and I haven't been wanting to read. But at least having it there with me makes it an option for myself. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is doing timers on my phone. So I don't use the Forest app because it costs money and I'm cheap, but I use the Flora app, which is exactly the same thing except for it's for free. And so basically what I will do is I will probably set up 30-minute segments, and then I will time myself and I will try to read for those 30 minutes at a time. And if I do 2 of those, I'll have already passed what I needed to for each day. I'm hoping that just picking up the routine of reading every single day will really be the push I need to get into reading once again. Okay, it's much later that same day. I'm getting ready for bed. I just finished up my first 50 pages, so I get to take out my first tab for the week. I'm really enjoying this book, and I feel like it might have the ability, am I saying it too soon, to help me get out of this slump? Am I jinxing myself? Oh good, I have a bookmark right here. I've just been using the dust jacket. This book is the prettiest shade of mauve underneath here, and the hardback says, in the beginning there was silence, Earthsinger Chronicles. Okay, so I can tell you pretty much everything that's happened so far because it is in the summary. So we're following 2 POVs. We are following just Manda, which probably not how she says her name. I say a lot of names with an accent and who knows. Anyways, we are following her. She's been orphaned. Both of her parents are dead or missing. We're not totally sure, to be honest, what's up with them. And she has this little farm kind of on the border between these 2 lands. And these 2 lands are kind of in a ceasefire from a war, but definitely are hostile with each other. They're building up to go back into war with each other. Each of her parents is from a different side. So she's kind of a mix between the 2 peoples, but she lives on the one side, which is lighter skinned, and she has darker skin like her father. And she also got magic like her father, which they refer to as song. And so she can do a few different things. They haven't totally explained all of it to me right now. Also know that her abilities aren't that strong, and she's definitely not a chosen one. She's basically happy to live on her family farm out in the middle of nowhere and not deal with anyone's bullshit. We're also following this man named Jack. So he is from the white side of the border, and he was sent as a spy to the other side when he was trying to get back after his like mission was complete and trying to bring some important stuff to his people, he got captured by a bunch of soldiers from the enemy's side, and they are taking him back home. Now, they accidentally crossed over the border and didn't realize there's this thing called the mantle in between the two lands, which is like a magic barrier that keeps you from being able to cross, and there are holes appearing in it. And so they accidentally crossed over and didn't realize, so they are on the soldiers' enemy's land, but Jack's like people's land, which is where Jasminda lives. There's a giant storm coming, so they've taken shelter at Jasminda's, and she's scared because she lives out in the middle of the nowhere that if she tells the soldiers that they're on the wrong side, that they will kill her. And Jack is scared because the mantle is disintegrating and they crossed over, and he has news that he has to get back to his people, and he is heavily injured because the soldiers have beaten him up very effectively. It sounds like there's definitely going to be a lot more building up. This is a trilogy, I believe, with a few novellas in it, so it kind of feels like one of those trilogies that's building up to a big war at some point. We're definitely gonna have to do something with the mantle. There's some other stuff in this summary that I haven't hit yet, so I'm not gonna talk about it. But there's also definitely like a romance building between the two main characters. On one side, it was like really insta love. Jack like saw Jasminda and was like, she's the prettiest woman I've ever seen. I love her hair. I love her looks. She's my savior, and has basically fallen in love with her, which to a certain degree, like, she did help him, and there definitely is some kind of connection between people and their healers, but he like fell in love with her even before then. Jasminda is kind of just curious about the whole situation. I don't think she has feelings for Jack yet, but I could definitely see her growing to like him because she's really curious about him. I'm not really sure where I'd put this book in like an age group. I want to call it an adult book. It's pretty easy to read, I have to say. Jack's parts are like really easy to read. He just has like a funny narrative tone, and Jasmina's chapters are usually pretty short, so I get through it really quickly. But when I went on Goodreads to check, they literally had it listed as YA, new adult, and adult. I guess when I finish, I'll try to put it into like an age category for you all. It's 8:15. I've been doing lots of stuff today, but I did manage to read up to what I was supposed to read today. Let me explain. So I read 80 pages yesterday. I never expected myself to do that. It was intense. I mean, I loved it, which is great because I haven't read physically in so long that I was able just to pick it up and do 80 pages. I'm really enjoying this book. Like, I definitely think that it's kind of convenient and it's not like the best book I've ever read, but I'm really enjoying it and I'm glad I'm reading it. So I've read up to page 105 right now, but that means I've only read 25 pages today. So since it's 8:15, I am going to grab my shower now, and then I'm gonna sit and read for a little bit longer. I'm hoping I can do another 25 pages tonight, so that that'll just put me in good standing for tomorrow. Hi, we're just hanging out in my kitchen because I've got a few things I've got to get done. Wednesday is family dinner, so I come home from work and I don't have much time at all, which is why you saw me reading on my lunch break today. So I was planning on reading ahead every single day. So the first day I read 80 pages, and then I was like, if I keep reading 50 and 50, that means on Wednesday I'm only gonna have to read 20, to meet my goal. Well, yesterday was an awful day and I just really didn't feel well, so I actually only read the 20 pages yesterday. But today has actually been going really well. I read on my lunch break and I have read 40 pages so far today, which means I only have 10 more to get to where I want to get to. And where I'm at right now, I'm gonna be reading more. Something just happened, which is one of my favoriteest tropes of all time. I can't believe that this book is pulling it, because this book reads very much like a young adult. Like, I don't want to call it young adult, because that means like teenager in the book world. But it's like, I would recommend this book to people who are like 18 to 25 maybe. So you'd probably call it new adult. But the only new adult I've ever read has like crazy amounts of smut in it, and this book has no smut so far, but there have been some a little bit more than suggestive scenes. So it's definitely not made for like teenagers, but the trope that is my favorite thing ever that is happening right now is definitely a trope you see in young adult books. So I'm like, no wonder people can't categorize this book. It has, I'm about to say, a hidden royalty. And it also has the trope, which this one's my favorite. The poor person has to go to court and basically pretend to be royalty for a little bit. Ah, my God. I'm loving this. First off, I don't know if it's gonna be 5-star. I've never gotten 5-star vibes from it, but I've been really enjoying it the entire time. I actually yesterday when I got home decided that since I'm loving it so much, and I know that I'm definitely going to be reading books 2 and 3 and 4 when it comes out next month. It comes out a month from yesterday, that I want the paperbacks, the pretty ones that look really nice. So I decided to order them. They're coming tomorrow. No, they're coming Friday. So I might honestly be done with this book at that point, needing the second one ASAP. It's Saturday. I look great. There's been a lot of work being done around my apartment today. I've been working on updating my Etsy. I'm not done with that. I probably will put in another hour today before I call it quits. And then I'm just gonna try to take the rest of the day to enjoy it, because I've been doing chores, I've been doing all kinds of stuff. The last day I did any reading was Wednesday. I didn't do any reading on Thursday, audio or physical. I didn't do any reading on Friday, audio or physical. Thursday was a really, really bad day for me, mental health wise. It was awful. Moving past that, Friday was a lot better. I got some updates on my car. I will be getting my new car on Monday, which is great. But I just have lost kind of some motivation to read. I know my goal this week was to read 50 pages a day, but sometimes things like that just, I guess, don't work out. I can still do my goal if I read the rest of this book today. And I think I'd even be willing to give myself tomorrow to read it as well, because why not? This video is coming out before my July month-long vlog is coming out, but act surprised when you see that video, because I went and bought, it's the same book. I just bought the paperback edition because I love this cover so much more. So I think I'm gonna finish up reading in this one. The problem with that is this book, the hardback is 370 pages and the paperback is 520. So my 50 pages a day thing isn't gonna work anymore. I have started to notice something. The days where I read little bits throughout the day, I didn't feel like I was reading as much, but those are the only days that I read 80 pages both times. Whereas the other days where I tried to save all of my reading for right before bed and just do all of my reading then, I ended up reading less on those days. One of the days I read 20 pages and one of the days I read 50 pages. So I think it's really important for me to realize that if I want to read 50 pages a day, it doesn't all have to be at once. Okay, hold up. I was about to move over my tabs before I went to go work, and this is the book I'm currently reading. Chapter 33. This is the symbol, and it starts with, "And what of justice?" I went into this book. Chapter 33 has a different symbol, and it starts with horse trotted. What? These are the same books, right? Like, Song of Blood and Stone by L. Penelope. Song of Blood and Stone by L. Penelope. What? Figured out where I am in the book. It's chapter 25 is the same as chapter 33 in the hardback edition. The problem is there's these large sections. Let me get comfy. There are these large sections where Manda, our main character, like goes back into the past and has like memories from someone else's life. And those are completely different in the two editions. I'm not joking. I will read you like a small non-spoilery section in the hardback, and then I'll read you the exact same section from the paperback. Lady Ula, are you ready to begin? My cousin Varnya stands in the center of the amphitheater that is the assembly room. Rows of benches spiral around him, filled with the other children of the founders. He is aged in stoop and the eldest of the thirds. Next to him, spine as rigid and unwielding as his face, sits below Eero. A small little bit from the memory in this book now. West Portside wasn't somewhere Ella could choose to go at night, or even on a particularly cloudy day. No, you couldn't manage to avoid visiting at all. Bright sunshine was the only way to go. She wasn't even really sure why it was called West, as it was in the northern tip of the neighborhood. Do I need to, start this over? Because I'm so confused. Who is Ella? Ella has not been in this book at all. I'm gonna go back to the beginning and I'm gonna do some investigating as to what is exactly different between these two books, because I am freaking out here right now. These are different books. Okay, sorry about the weird angle, but I think I found something when I first started to flip. This is the hardback and it says Song of Blood and Stone, Earthsinger Chronicles Book 1. This is the paperback. It says Song of Blood and Stone Special Earthsinger Edition. Are these two different books? This must be an extra bit. Plan is to go back in with some colorful tabs, and I'm going to find all of the chapters that were the same and tab them one color, and all of the chapters that are different just from the beginning paragraph and tab them a different color. And I'm going to reread the different chapters and then catch up to where I'm at and continue on in the paperback. I'm losing my mind. This is insane. Okay, scratch that. I'm not marking chapters as different because every single chapter is different. Even the chapters that are the same, in essence, have been rewritten. I guess the plan now is to finish this book and then pick up this book and see how they were different. That would be a really cool experiment to see the differences between the two. And there are going to be parts that I know will be the same, but I almost don't want to rate it because there's way more into this, and I can tell that the writing is different in this book, way different. And I'm almost hesitant because this is probably going to spoil all the surprises and stuff, but I'm going to be spoiled no matter what if I read this. So I think I'm going to read this book back to back. This is the summary of the hardback. Normally I don't read the whole things for you guys because I don't want you to be spoiled on anything, but I want to fully see how they are different with each other. So I'm going to get some water and I'm going to try not to mess this up as best as possible. So the tagline says, between love and duty lies destiny. Orphaned and alone, Jasmina lives in a land where cold whispers of invasion and war linger on the wind. Jasmina herself is an outcast in her homeland of Elsira, where her gift of earth song is feared. When ruthless soldiers seek refuge in her isolated cabin, they bring with them a captive, an injured spy who threatens to steal her heart. Jack's mission, behind enemy lines, to prove that the mantle between Elsira and Lagrimar is about to fall, nearly cost him his life, but he is saved by the healing song of a mysterious young woman. Now he must do whatever it takes to save Elsira and its people from the true father, and he needs Jasmina's earth song to do it. They escape their vicious captors and together embark on a perilous journey to save Elsira and to uncover the secret of the queen who sleeps. Thrust into a hostile society, Jasmina and Jack must rely on each other even as secrets jeopardize their bond. As an ancient evil gains power, Jasmina races to unlock a mystery that promises salvation. The fates of two nations hang in the balance as Jasmina and Jack must choose between love and duty to fulfill their destinies and end the war. Okay, now I'm going to read you the back of this book, and we're going to see if they're different from each other. El Penelope's Song of Blood and Stone is a treacherous, thrilling epic fantasy about an outcast drawn into a war between two powerful rulers. The kingdom of Elsira and Lagrimar have been separated for centuries by the mantle, a magical veil that has enforced a tremulous peace between the two lands. But now the mantle is cracking, and the true father, ruler of Lagrimar, and the most powerful earth singer in the world finally sees a way into Elsira to seize power. All Jasmina ever wanted was to live quietly on her farm, away from the prying eyes of those in the nearby town. Branded an outcast by the color of her skin and her gift of earth song, she's been shunned all her life and has learned to steer clear of the town folks, until a group of Lagrimari soldiers wander into a valley with an Assyrian spy, believing they are still in Lagrimar. Through Jack, the spy, Jasmina learns that the mantle is weakening, allowing people to slip through without notice. And even more troubling, Lagrimar is mobilizing, and if no one finds a way to restore the mantle, it might be too late for Asira. Their only hope lies in uncovering the secret of the Queen Who Sleeps, and Jasminda's Earth Song is the key to unravel them. Thrust into a hostile society in a world she doesn't know, Jasminda and Jack race to unveil an ancient mystery that might offer salvation. Funnily enough, this book mentions nothing about love, nothing about romance. Between love and duty lies destiny was this one's slogan, and this one says, and when she awoke, the world trembled. Okay, so this has a little button here. I'm now for the first time seeing it. It says special Earthsinger edition, expanded with all new scenes. Heck, it's not expanded, it's a new book. I also bought book 2 and 3 online. I wasn't gonna tell you in this video, but I did, and they're here, and I'm gonna go grab them and see if they're different. Okay, so here's book 2 and 3. They do not have any like indication on their front covers that they are different or expanded universes, which is good because I think that would mean that if I just read this version, it would be absolutely fine for me to do. To move into these editions, confused as all hell. Like, imagine if I had picked this book for my book club and we all bought different editions and read different books, and then we're trying to talk to each other and someone was like, oh yeah, I remember Ella, and I'd be like, who the hell is Ella? She's not even in this book. I'm so flustered right now, but like in a good way. I just got back from the pool. I'm going to slice up an apple and do some reading. I took my book with me. That was my apple falling on the floor. I took my book with me and I read 50 pages, so I am officially caught up through Thursday. So I'm going to try to sit and do at least another 50 pages right now, and that means Friday will be caught up as well, which means I think I'll have like 50 more pages left, which would be today's goal. 9 o'clock, so I don't know if I will be finishing 100 pages tonight, but I'm gonna still attempt to do it. Hi, good morning. It's 7 a.m. This is when I wake up, even on the weekends. Yes, I'm wearing the same thing. Yesterday, I pretty much lounged around my apartment playing Skyward Sword, and that's kind of my plan for today, so why not put the same clothes on? Last night, while I was reading this, my mom did give me a buzz. Her and dad are on vacation right now, so they wanted to tell me about it, which is wonderful. But I didn't get as far into this as I wanted to last night. But I made it to page 300, which means I have 70 pages left in the book. And I'm gonna take up my own advice, and I'm gonna try to read bits throughout the day. Okay, I'm back from the pool and I have officially finished this book. But give me 2 seconds, I'm gonna shower and then we'll talk about it. Back in that ratty old t-shirt. Don't you love it? I finished this up while I was at the pool and I'm really conflicted. I feel like my enjoyment of this book was a 5-star, especially the second half. I loved the twists and turns that El Penelope took us on. I felt like it was really good. It had tropes that I really like, but in an adult way. I just really enjoyed it. But I definitely don't think the writing was a 5-star. and I'm really excited to read her later books to see if her writing gets any better and actually reaches that level for me, but for this one it didn't. So I'm conflicted because I'm like, a lot of times if I enjoy a book, even if there are some like problems with it, I'll rate it how I enjoyed it. But I want to be honest with it, as I'm going to be binging the entire series over the next 2 months so that I can really see how they compare against each other. And if I rate this book 5 stars right now and then the next ones are all better, I can't really go up from there. I think I'm going to rate it a 4.5. I think I'm going to put it on my favorites shelf of all time. I'm gonna round it up on Goodreads to a 5 star, but like in the comments write 4.5. Let's get comfy for a second. So I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, it had a lot of things I love in it. It was very political and it focused a lot on the oppression of certain people in this world. And it had a lot of really important things to say that are obviously very well reflected in how things are in our actual world. It also had some smut scenes in it. I think that there was really 1.5, to be completely honest, because there was a second one, but it wasn't super long. I really loved the respect that the two characters had for each other, and there was this one line in here that I'm probably going to be talking about it in my wrap-up, to be 100% honest, that made me kind of understand why I had a problem with certain things in A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it while I was reading it. But here we go. I'm gonna be reading some smut. If that offends you, I recommend turning away right now. Bye. He worshipped her body with his tongue, pressing kisses every place he could reach. Hands on the curves of her bottom, he spread her legs wider, settling his weight between them. Jasmine arched up, wanting more, but at the same time, longing to touch him too. She freed her arms from her sides and slid her hands down his back, digging her nails into his flesh when he did something particularly delightful with his tongue or fingers. The one little bit of this that like made me like understand what really bothered me in Kingdom of Flesh and Fire was the moment where she was like, but at the same time longing to touch him too. This book was all about respect between these two characters, about them like falling in love with each other, even though it was definitely insta-lovey. The two of them like longed for each other, and I feel like in Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, Jennifer L. Almentrout kept telling us that like the two characters wanted each other, but whenever they were together, it was always Hawke being with Poppy, or Hawke like proving that he was like great with women by like doing stuff for Poppy, and Poppy was never wanting his body or wanting to share with him the lovemaking. And it just really, after a while, after every single scene that was in Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, wore down on me. Like, I understand that he wanted to worship her body, but that's like putting her on a pedestal and worshiping her, whereas this was very much the two people like joining together and making something beautiful. That's just a really quick thought here at the end of the video that I'll probably be saying more than once on my channel. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. It is Sunday, so I didn't finish this book when I wanted to, which was yesterday, but I have no hard feelings. I feel like this was an accomplishment because right now I genuinely feel like going and reading some more. I will not be picking this up next because I looked at my planner ahead to see like what books I needed to be reading for the next month, basically, for buddy reads and book club picks, and I just do not have the time because of my slump to put this in right now, unfortunately. But I'm so excited that I have this edition. I will be reading this edition hopefully this year. Let me know if you liked this video by giving it a like. I really enjoyed this. I like doing weekly vlogs that kind of have themes to them. Thanks for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let me know down below if you've read this book or if I've convinced you to read this book, because you should go read it if you like fantasy. Adult fantasy, heck yeah, go check this book out. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye!